Hey guys, I'm Chris from the Silver Symbol channel, and in today's video, I'm going to help you get rid of that weird odor, and we're going to de-stinkify your car or truck in a way that's easy to do if you follow these simple 4 steps. But if you do them out of order, you will never get rid of that smell entirely. Since your car smells inside, you would probably think that you need to get started inside your vehicle, but you'd be totally wrong. I'd recommend that your first step actually starts under the hood of your car. Underneath your hood is the air intake for your car's entire ventilation system. You're going to see a number of vents like this, but of course you can also see that my vents are completely covered by leaves, pine needles. This junk isn't just restricting the airflow inside our car. The leaf litter is going to hold onto moisture, and of course all that moisture is going to build up, it's going to create mold, and those smells are going to get pulled right into your vehicle. Your first step must be to remove all of this material on top of our air intake, and if you have something like one of these pocket blowers, you can certainly use it, or if you've got an electric leaf blower, that's a great option as well. Now you might luck out and that alone could get rid of the smell. Sometimes it takes a couple of days to really find out, but if you want to move to the next step or just be more thorough, now just about every vehicle or truck on the market today has an internal cabin filter. On this Toyota Tacoma, it's accessed behind the glove box. They're usually neglected, and instead of these filters filtering the air like they're supposed to, they essentially turn into stink sponges. Replacing it is pretty easy. We're going to start by emptying out the glove box, and then you'll see this small panel. Now in this Toyota, we've got to simply snap this panel out, and now we're looking at the filter housing for our cabin air filter. Getting the filter out is pretty easy on this Tacoma. You simply snap one of the clips on either side, and now without even looking at the condition of the filter, we know this thing has a problem. I can see leaves, pine needles, and all sorts of junk, because below this filter is the motor that drives your air HVAC system. Now it's not a problem if some of this stuff falls in there, but you want to reduce that as much as possible. Now looking at this filter, this thing is bad. It is very common to have debris and all sorts of junk in there, but stains like this are not good. Now you can have something like a mouse or an animal get inside your car, but more often it's those leaves and debris sitting on top of those vents and slowly leaking them out right onto this filter that are being circulated through your heat and air conditioning every time you turn it on. This thing is disgusting. I don't see any indication of a pest problem inside my vehicle. This Fram filter should be just fine, and it sells for about 15 bucks. But before we install it, you've absolutely got to clean out the area below. Now some of this debris I know fell right into the motor. Now make sure your car key is off. You don't want anything running while you do this, but you can go ahead and stick your hand in there, trying to remove anything that's big. But if you're too nervous and you don't want to put your hand in there, that's totally fine. You can go ahead and use a shop vac, or additionally, you can use one of these air dusters. And I'm going to warn you, if you've never done this before, you are going to see a ton of junk come out. You should make sure you've got some eye protection on. You can also take a rag and wipe around the inside of the housing. You're definitely going to want to try to wipe out whatever you can get. With that done, we can now install our brand new air filter. Now again, this takes just a couple of seconds, and once you've got it in there, you can close up the internal door. At this point, you've probably eliminated about 80% of all the smells that you're going to have inside your vehicle, but there is the chance that this may still not have been enough. But it's critical that you followed the steps this far, because you need that air intake to be totally clean. Now when I was a kid, everybody would use products like Ozone, and even Meguiar's has some air freshener products, and those used to be the most economical and maybe even the best solution. But then we learned about using ozone to sanitize the air inside of our car. But 15 years ago, those ozonizers would cost $300, $500, but fast forward to today, you can buy an ozonizer for as little as $29 or $39, and now you've got this tool for any problems in the future. So now we're going to sanitize the air using this ozonizer. Now it doesn't matter which model you get. Using an ozonizer is surprisingly easy. Now most of them do need to plug into household power, so you want to situate your car somewhere that no one's going to try to get into it, because while you're running an ozonizer in your vehicle, the air is pretty toxic. You do not want to breathe any of it or be inside. And I'd recommend beginning by eliminating anything in the car that shouldn't be there. Get rid of things like jackets, clothing, towels. Next, you can place your ozonizer on top of your armrest. Now some of these things have feet that can kind of dig in, so put a book or a box or something below just to protect your armrest. Now get your device plugged in. You can use an extension cord if required. Now before you turn the ozonizer on, you'll want to turn your key to the accessory position or something that allows you to run the HVAC system. First, you're going to turn your HVAC system on, but the second and most important thing is you've got to turn the recirculation mode on. You'll have a button with something like this arrow. For ozone to be effective, you've got to have some humidity in the air. If you leave your air conditioner on, you're going to be pulling all that humidity out, and you're actually going to make the ozone almost completely ineffective. Now you can activate your ozonizer. Now follow whatever manual you get with your ozonizer, but I have generally found that these cheaper models are going to work very well if you set them about halfway to what their maximum output is. And this thing is going to turn on pretty much instantly. You'll hear some kind of sizzling and hissing, and at that point you got to get right out of the vehicle and close the doors. Ozone can kill things like mold, mildew, viruses. Even things like tobacco smoke and cigarette smoke can be completely eliminated or dramatically reduced using this ozone method. You'll want to leave this ozonizer running for between 15 and 30 minutes for the treatment. Some machines have built-in timers, but I wouldn't bet the farm on those things because if you've only used it just a couple of times, you might mess it up. So use the timer on your phone and stay in the nearby area so you're sure nobody's going to get inside this thing. Now most batteries will have no problem running your HVAC system for half an hour, but if you're concerned you've got a much older car with an old battery, you'll definitely want to make sure you've got a jump starter or have some other way to jump start your battery if this thing should die when the treatment's done. Next, to stop the ozone treatment, just simply unplug the ozonizer from the extension cord that you've got outside your car. Next, open all of the doors, and I'd recommend waiting about 3 minutes even though your HVAC system is still running. I'm saying this because of your own safety. After 3 minutes, I would reach in and turn your key off just to kill the HVAC system, and at this point I really would recommend leaving your car open like this for another 15 minutes to even as much as an hour. Even after this period, once you get in your vehicle the first time, you are going to smell ozone. It's not necessarily harmful to you, but I would recommend leaving those windows open while you drive around. And additionally, this driving around is going to also recharge the battery. It can take a couple of days before you can no longer even notice the smell, but I can guarantee the minute you finish that ozone, you wiped out anything in the car will be totally obliterated with the use of ozone. And if you've got a smell that you are so tired of smelling every time you're in your vehicle, these steps should guarantee that you can get rid of that smell yourself. If this video was helpful, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the Silver Symbol channel for more videos coming up.